Well, welcome everyone to our special guest speaker event. This event is coming at you from pretty much all over the place. We've got guests from England, guests from Mexico, guests from the United States, and a number of you launch sites throughout North America that are plugged into our call today with guests. I'm going to just ask all who are unmuted to please mute. And I'm going to ask our guest speakers to unmute when it's their turn to come up. I'm going to be kicking off with Veronica Ampudia. She's in Chicago right now visiting, but she's actually a Diamond and Nicki Wellness consultant from Mexico City. She'll tell us a little bit about her story, her background. We've got Nicki Edghill, who's coming in from Brighton, United Kingdom, England. She's a platinum out there. And we're excited to have her. I think this is your first time on our call, Nicki, so looking forward to hearing from you and some of the highlights of your career, Nicki. We have Ruth Loth coming in from San Diego, California, also a platinum. I got to spend a little bit of time with them away recently, so I'm sure they'll give you some of the highlights of that as well. And my name is Mike DiMuccio. I'm a Royal Diamond with Nicki. I've been a Nicki Royal Diamond for quite a long time, but I've actually been with the company for 26 and a half years. So I'm thrilled to be able to be your point person, your host for this call today, which should last about 25 to 30 minutes tops. And then you can get back to your event and continue doing what it is that you're doing. So let me go ahead and switch to speaker view. And I'm going to ask Veronica, if you wouldn't mind coming up first to unmute yourself and tell us your story. Veronica Ampudia from Mexico City, Diamond.
Hi, hello everybody. My name is Veronica. I'm from Mexico City. I'm in Chicago right now, and I studied business administration with a major in finance, and I worked in the corporate world for over 20 years in different big companies, transnational companies. In the finance administration part, and then in corporate social responsibility. I'm the mother of 3 kids, Patricio 19, Veronica 16, and Jeronimo 13. And I always manage how to have an income and work and be with my kids, but that was quite exhausting. So it's going to be 7 years now that I left the corporate world, and my mother insisted me in inquiring in Nicki because that would give me the freedom that I wanted. I don't like having a boss. I don't like people telling me what I need to do, and I don't like to have a schedule. So if I do my own schedule, I'm fine, but I don't like people telling me when I can go to a vacation or if I have to come back a certain day. So my mother knew about Nicki since Nicki arrived to Mexico. And I'm not a salesperson. I don't like sales. So I told her, how am I going to do this business if I don't like selling? Selling is not my thing. I'm quite shy about selling. So she said, just inquire. It's more about business development. You can sell, but it's more about business development if you want to have a serious business with Nicki. So I started inquiring. I went to the meeting where Paulina, my upline, talked to me about the business. So I decided to give it a try. I signed in that day when she presented the business to me. I didn't understand what I was doing. I thought this was not for me, but I still decided to try because I could see a huge opportunity. I could see a lot of people in the story she was telling me that were successful and were free. So I wanted to be free and I wanted to be successful. So I decided to just try. And my first year was quite difficult because I didn't understand the business model because it's so different from a traditional job that it took me some time to understand it. And I didn't actually believe in the products because I thought they were magical and they cured. So it also took me some time to get the products and have a story with each one of them to be able to share the story. So as soon as I had a story, I could see that whenever I told my story, people would buy. So I was not selling, I was just selling stories. So I started building a team and I got to Diamond, and I'm working my way to Royal Diamond, growing my team. So basically that's about it, Mike.
Okay, well, it's a great story, and I'm sure there's a lot of people who can relate to it. I have one question. I'm going to actually ask all the speakers to answer this one question, and I want you to be as specific as you can be for the benefit of the people who are especially new, who are just getting started or considering to get started. We all had our start in Niken. I'd like you to consider if you were starting Niken today, if you had your first 90 days to live over again, what would you do differently? And let me just go ahead and mute that caller. Okay, what would you do differently if you had your first 90 days to do over again? Anything?
Oh, everything. Everything. I think I did it all wrong. Not just the first 90 days, but the first year. So we can be very stubborn about things at times. And if I had to start all over, I would definitely do as I was said. I would just follow the lead of somebody that I trust in the company and just do as they say, even though I think it's crazy. I would just go out and do it as the method says. I wouldn't try to make it my way. I would just hop in and into the system and just go for it. And I would go out and build a team as fast as twice faster as I did. I would not. I would be more confident, even though I didn't have that confidence, but I would trust more in the people that were leading me and borrowing their faith and their trust into building this business. I come a lot to United States, and the opportunity of building a business in both countries and in many other countries is huge. So for those Spanish-speaking people that are on this call, I just want you to know that the opportunity you have for building a business in both countries with your families in Mexico. I live in Mexico, but my kids were born in the United States, 3 of them. So I can relate to you in that. And this is a business that you can build in both countries and many other countries that Niken is operating. So what I would do the same is sign up the day I was presented the business. I think that I did very well. And then I would connect and plug into every call, every event. I wouldn't miss one single thing.
Fantastic. Wow. Great advice. And I definitely concur with that. I know that the longer we delay in getting our business started, most of us don't appreciate that until we look back and we realize, oh my God, how much money did it cost me to delay because of this compound effect that we're all taught. And when you're experiencing it, that's when you really realize it. Again, I'm going to ask those who are not muted to please mute. And thank you, Veronica, for sharing your story with us this morning, this afternoon. We're going to switch now to the United Kingdom. All the way over there for some happenings with Nicki Edghill, who's a platinum. Nicki, why don't you share your story with us, please?
Yeah, hi. So I had a similar but different story to Veronica. Mine was one of personal health issues. I'm a naturopath, psychoneuroimmunologist, and I work with people to help them with their health. So I went along to a bone health talk, actually, because it was happening. And I saw the sleep system in the corner, and I'd actually had a very chronic problem with my sleep due to a long-term stress situation in my family, and hadn't been sleeping for about a year, and immediately was very drawn to the sleep system. Didn't think twice about getting it. And so I actually joined with some really good advice from my sponsor to make a really good investment decision to come in at executive level straight away, because I was buying basically the wellness home, and I bought a few extra water filters, because I thought, well, if I can't recommend these water filters to my clients, then I may as well, you know, pack up and go already. So that was my thought, and I hadn't really thought about the business further than that, really. But then, of course, I went to the Humans Being More training, which was happening by coincidence really the next month. And to my sponsor's disappointment, I think, I came back having made a 90-day plan to focus on my the mind pillar. And I came back and I spent 3 months doing loads of exercise, and really I just felt that that would help every pillar. And during that time, I had a great product experience. My sleep returned to fantastic levels. My energy was bouncing much higher than ever before, and yeah, it was very easy to talk about the product. So that kind of connected me to my why. Really, I don't think I had a business why before then. And before that, since then, I've just connected with that over and over again, just share it, like Veronica, just sharing my story, and you know, and having amazing stories coming back at me too. And then 3 years ago, with the business in mind, to build the business, myself and my husband John, we worked the business together. We decided to adopt the new model of a certain level of activity every month, with a view to reaching the incentive, the Kaizen incentive, to get, not really to get the trip, actually, just to build the business. And that's what we did. And we've actually had 2 amazing trips, last year in Mexico and this year in this year in Japan, just gone, and come back with renewed energy to build the business again, and listening to...
Just hold that thought for 1 second. I'm sorry, we've got Joe Waldner, you're sharing screen, and all of a sudden you've taken over this call. So I'm going to ask Joe to not do that. So I'm not sure why that even had happened. Let me just see if I can get this control back. And there we go. There we go.
There we go. Yeah, so I was saying, yeah, with the focus on winning the Kaizen incentive, that really helped to build the business, and working closely with my sponsor, we did a lot of consistent activity, and built to platinum at the end of last year, which is fabulous, and this year working towards diamond. And yeah, the Japan trip was, I just wanted to say, you know, really helped me to reconnect with the roots of Nicki again, and where, you know, why it's such an amazing company to be aligned with.
Well, with respect to the Japan trip, what can you share with the folks? What did you get the most out of it? And before you answer that question, again, I'm having a challenge with one of the callers who's not muted. So I'm going to ask you to please mute if you're not muted right now. It's kind of bizarre. There's a bit of interference on this, and I can't even see who it is. It's impossible for me to find.
Mike?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes, Ben.
It's Diana Rhodes.
Okay, and I can't see her on my list. That's the thing, is I don't have control. Okay, there we go. And she's muted on this list. All right.
I
Well,
what's happening is when people jump on, it's going to wherever the noise is.
yes. I know that. Okay, so sorry, Nicki, if you can pick that story up again, because we got to spend some time in Japan. That was actually my fifth trip to Japan, again, on the company as part of their incentive program. But you seeing that the way you saw it, what impression would that give somebody about the company and the origins of our business?
Oh, it really cemented in my head the way the Japanese have service at their core. You know, they really want to help others. They want to connect with others. They're really connected with nature. And I could really see how Niken's products have come out of all of that. You know, that connection with nature, that connection with family, that connection with health, and preventative energy medicine really struck me again, having seen it from Japan's point of view. So that was amazing. And just the whole trip, I think, for people in the business, you know, you're obviously making connections with people all over the world. So once again, like Veronica was saying, you know, we already had that intention to build in Latin America as of last year's Kaizen trip, but it came again very strong, and we've actually just about to sign our first Mexican downline, so it's really, really exciting. And just, you know, sharing experiences with the business, sharing stories, and realizing once again, probably answering the second bit of the question, but just, you know, that more massive action is required.
Okay, well, that is the second part of the question. So what would you have done differently if you had your first 90 days to live over again?
Yeah, so I would definitely be thinking about building the team much sooner, and working with upline, attending all the meetings, definitely connecting with my why in a bigger way, and being very consistent in my activity. You know, it's all very well to have a why, to have a goal, but you have to actually be in action as well, very consistently. So, you know, just upping that and just realizing that it's a numbers game. You know, I just need more, doing the same, but doing more and more consistently, I think, really, and building all over the world. I think that's the really exciting thing about what we have, is that we get to, you know, travel with the business through the incentives, but also to be with our team wherever they are.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for sharing your story and your thoughts about how to get started in the business if you were thinking about getting started in the business today. We're going to switch back now to North America, all the way to the West Coast, and we have Platinum Consultant Ruth Loth with us from San Diego. Ruth, would you share your story, please?
Sure. Thank you so much. So it's an honor to be here with you guys. I started Niken over 17 years ago, and prior to Niken, I was a CPA by trade. I worked massive amounts of hours, got that corner office because I thought it was so important, but then had children and realized that that wasn't what life was all about. So I quit working and told my husband, I'm just taking a year off. And after a year, I said, I have no time to go back to work. So I stayed home. And at that time, both our kids were born in St. Louis, Missouri, and Robert got a promotion to go to Florida. So we moved to Florida, and it was in Florida that I got introduced to Niken. And I had an 87-year-old grandmother at the time that had a phenomenal product experience in a matter of 3 days. And that's when I decided that, I think I want to learn how to do this business. And at the time, my daughter was 1 and my son was 7. And I grew my business from my home. She took a nap every day, so it was incredible. And I didn't really know anybody because we just moved there. And so when we made the decision to do this, we decided to do the Entrepreneur Club. It was called something else back then, but we did 3 back-to-back and accomplished them successfully in 6 weeks' time. And so we went silver, which was amazing that we were able to do that from the home. And at the same time, we had the Watanabe team membership. We were the first one in North America to obtain that. But after going silver and everything, Niken had a promotion in the summer, and we were recognized as the top volume producers, and we won a brand new Mercedes-Benz. So that was pretty amazing, having little kids at home and we went to the dealership and they wired $49,000 to the dealership. I walked out with the keys to my Mercedes in my name. It was incredible. So that in itself is an amazing experience. Shortly after that, fortunately, I guess, Robert got another promotion and went to a job in upstate New York. Once again, we had to move with young kids, no friends, no family. But there we stayed about 1.5 years and were able to go gold. And we love our team members in New York. And so another blessing. And then Robert got another opportunity to move and we went to Chicago, Illinois. And so that is our third state at that point in time. And once again, we had no friends and no family. However, we grew our Nicki business and we have an amazing Nicki team there and a Nicki family there to this day still supports us greatly. And all the places I've lived that have my Nicki family, I would definitely like send my children there. That's how much I love and trust them. So in Chicago, we were there for 10 years. So that was, yay, a good time to be there where our kids grew up. And during that time, my mother had become ill and was diagnosed with lung cancer and brain cancer. And I took 9 months off. I know that's quite a bit, but I took 9 months off of my business, had downline, upline, crossline support. I didn't even answer one phone call. I was able to tend to my mom. Unfortunately, she passed, and then take care of all her affairs. But to be able to do that for 9 months and know that my business was being taken care of was an incredible feeling. Shortly after that, once again, Robert got another opportunity and we moved to San Diego. So currently we're in San Diego. We've been here 6 years. We had moved here. My daughter was going into 8th grade and both of us, my daughter and I, did not want to move to San Diego. I know that sounds crazy because it's gorgeous here, but we loved being in Chicago. We had a network of friends and family that were, or Nicki family, that were so important to us. And so we didn't want to come. So we were not happy campers when we came to San Diego. When we came, within 2 weeks, Rachel started school, 8th grade. A freak accident happened, and her best friend from 4 years old until 13 years old died in a drowning accident. And it was a huge shock to all of us. It definitely rocked our world. And it was at that moment that Robert and I decided, you know what? We're here for a reason, and we have to really focus on taking care of Rachel. So I just immersed myself in her life. I volunteered at everything. She's a cross-country runner. She's a soccer competitive player. She's a track and field runner. I volunteered in every single booster club and PTA, Education Foundation. I was just there in her life full time. And that was our focus. So unfortunately, our business took a back seat, so to say. We still did it here and there, but our focus was on Rachel because it was really important to us. And so she thrived and did really well. And then junior year, we thought, in high school, we're like, okay, we can get back to our business. And then she suffers a severe concussion from soccer. Blocks the goal that hit her in the temple from 5 feet away. It's okay because the goal didn't get in, but it knocked her unconscious. It took her 8 months to get back. And thank goodness for Nicki Technologies. And from there, knowing that she was healthy, we decided to then go for Team Kaizen in 2016. So we made the decision, like Mike always talks about, in San Antonio from a big event, as Veronica spoke. And we achieved Team Kaizen for 2016. And last year we were in Cancun with Nicki and Veronica and Mike. Nicki and Veronica. And then Mike had encouraged us from San Antonio. So it was just incredible. And this year we are truly focusing on growth. And the byproduct of the growth, because we're focused on it, is going to get us to Italy, right? Hence the shirt. So for us, it's been an amazing journey. And we're very, very blessed.
Fabulous. Wow. Okay. Well, that's really telling us how the Nicki business wraps around your life versus the other way around, and how your life can take a priority, especially when there are moments in time where it has to be a priority. And while your business might suffer a little bit, it doesn't disappear on you. It's there for you to support you. And that's amazing. I don't know how many businesses out there are like that, but, and you mentioned a lot about how your Nicki family is really your family. And I can totally feel the same about that because I have family all over the world. And I would trust my kids in their hands without thinking about it. So it just speaks a lot to who we are, what we represent. I do want to ask you one question because you have an interesting story in that you had a really good start in the business. So I wouldn't say maybe what would you do differently. Maybe I'd say what would you do the same. So anyone listening, just might pick up a few pointers.
Okay, so I was thinking about that question, and there are some things I would definitely do differently. The first thing was to truly be focused. I was just doing it because it was a thing that I was just doing. I wasn't really focused on where I was going, and things just kept happening. And so maybe that was a good thing. But today, if I was new, I would really search what my why was and be focused on what I was doing. And what we started doing, which has really helped our business, is to make plans and goals and business plans. And that's really important for us. And it's not just making the goals and plans, but to evaluate our progress, our true activity compared to what we wanted to do. And we look at that daily, weekly, monthly, and quarterly. And that is definitely something that has, we are doing now, and that I would do differently than what I did years ago. Also to print up our 3 months, a 90-day plan, and put everything in there. It used to be that we put all the kids' schedule. Now our kids are grown. Now we can actually put our business schedule on first and let that take priority. And so that, I think, is very exciting that we are doing, and that I would do differently. And also, don't be attached to the outcomes, because too many times in these years, I was so hung up about what they would decide. But to let that go and let Providence take over, I think is important. Affirmations, I think I didn't do affirmations back then, and that I think is very important. Also being a core consultant, you and Ben and Dave teach us to watch, listen, read 15 minutes a day to grow our minds and spirit, and to be in contact with our mentor and our upline. It's really important. And to show our business plan twice a week, and to meet a new person, or talk to somebody, or text somebody, a new person a day. These are things I would definitely do different that I did not do back then, that I think is really important. And I think pray. Pray before you go to bed at night for all the grateful things that happen to your life, and pray the first thing in the morning, because God gave you another day and blessed you so you can make a difference in somebody's lives. That is definitely something I did not do. And I think if I did that, I would have a whole calm and peaceness in my life. And then the last thing I would do differently is make a list of all the things that distract you, because that was my downfall. And then when I have that list to look at and say, okay, how do I accomplish and take these things out of my life so that I can focus on what, and brings us back to the first thing, stay focused. So those are the things I would do differently today.
That's an amazing list. I think we need to play this back and take that down as notes. That was fantastic. It's really solid advice, whether you're just getting started now or looking to reboot your business. It's really good advice. There's one last thing that I want to mention, or highlight actually, is that your daughter has been the participant of a very special Nikken rewards or incentive program for consultants who achieve the rank of silver. So if you become involved in Nikken, become a Nikken Silver, then you're eligible to submit an application annually to Nikken for the Watanabe Leadership Scholarship, or Education Scholarship, and you can potentially have your tuition paid for, which your daughter was granted this year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, so this is her second year. You have to apply every year. They look at academic performance, and they look, she needed 2 letters of recommendation, and they look at, she had to write an essay. So we're very blessed that she's a good writer, but she's had some difficulties throughout her life. And so I think Nikken recognizes that. So we are very blessed. That is her second year that she's been awarded the scholarship.
Congratulations. I mean, that's fantastic. So think about that, guys. How many corporations, businesses, opportunities are out there where they're willing to pick up the tab on your children's education at the university level? That's insane. That's amazing. And I think we ought to do a better job at promoting that is something that we have as an option for people, because it's a very big expense in many people's lives. So thank you to our guest speakers, Veronica, Nicki, and Ruth, for today's contribution to the events that are taking place out there, and those of you who are listening in. I just want to wrap up with one last thought, and that is events, as you heard from all of our speakers, is an important part of the decision-making process, not necessarily to be involved in Nikken, but maybe to take your Nikken business to the next level and to meet and network with the people who can contribute. As they all pointed out, the one thing they would do differently is they'd listen to their upline, their crossline, the people that were there to support them and focus them on their objectives. So there is an event coming up. The next major event that's happening in the Nikken world is going to be taking place in July in Orlando, Florida. Please go to orlandosummit.net check it out. There's still some tickets available. It's going to be a phenomenal event. I just got a glimpse of the schedule and who's on it and what is going to be covered. And I think you guys are going to benefit tremendously, whether you are a day old in Nican or whether you've been in the business for as long as I have. You're going to benefit from this agenda and this event. So I want to welcome you to that event and definitely ask your sponsor about it, how you can participate. Maybe they have an incentive going themselves. Well, thanks, everyone. I lead you back to your guest or your hosts in your local options or your local cities and your local homes and wherever it is that you are right now being introduced to Nican. And I want to help you or encourage you to make those decisions that are life-changing. We are not necessarily in the habit of making decisions. It's not something that we're taught, although we're expected to do quite often. In fact, pretty much every day is filled with decisions from the moment you get out of bed to when you're going to brush your teeth, what you're going to wear, what you're going to eat, et cetera, et cetera. So we have a life filled with decisions, and every one of these decisions have a consequence. And sometimes our decisions, the consequences of them are bringing us in the wrong direction of the life that we want to live. And that's why an event or an organization, a group of people who see the world the way we do through the 5 pillars of health can help you make some decisions that will bring you back to what is important to you and live the life of your dreams, a life in balance. We welcome you to the Nican family. Have a great afternoon. Have a great weekend. And we'll see you soon on the Nican Highway.
Michael, before you hang up, this little girl made a decision to come today to be on television. Could Maggie just say hello?
Hi, Maggie.
Hi, Maggie.
Hi.
Hi, Maggie.
Can I share my story?
Sure.
Well, when I was younger, about like 5 or 6, I had problems focusing. Like in school, I'd always be drawing, I'd be doodling, and I'd get bullied a lot, and I always had a reaction. Until then, I was taking on many different medications, but then I found a psychiatrist that helped me a lot, and I have better medicine now. And I have a teacher that helps me a lot, and he's very persuading, and I just feel a lot better now. And that when I went over to Marilyn's house,
That's okay. Just finish. Hurry up.
When I went over to Marilyn's house, she told me to go into the back of the room, and I got a massage, and like all that stress went away. So it was a lot helpful, and now I'm on a way better track. And Guppy wants to share her story.
And Guppy's going to write books with Guppy, Michael. So this is absolutely fantastic.
Well, thank you for sharing your story. Thank you to all of you for sharing your story. Again, have a wonderful weekend. Have a wonderful event, and we'll see you soon on the Nican Highway. Have a great day.
Thank you
Bye.
so much. Thank you.